Watch as I take my old clapped out KDX and turn it into this single track beast. But first, more coffee. Little background on the KDX. I traded a CRF 230 for this bike in 2021. My wife was riding the CRF, but we had just bought her a 150 XCW. So then the plan was this was going to be my bike. And now we're kind of in the similar spot where we're saving up for another new bike for her. And she'll be riding mine for the time being. But I'm back on the KDX. And I have always loved KDXs. I don't know if it's just like the weird perimeter frame or the fact that the kickstand just totally looks like an afterthought, but I don't know, I freaking love them. I watched a Torture Test magazine video a long time ago, and that dude just thrashed a KDX and sung its praises. And I have to agree with him. I think it's a pretty fun bike, so I'm excited to throw some parts at it and make it something I actually want to ride. I mean, you can still find them for pretty cheap on Facebook Marketplace from time to time. So I think it's a good bike and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Okay, so far over the years, I did a new piston right away because I think they had problems with the OEM piston just like grenading on people. Fresh clutch and a little Fastway USA lever that's adjustable. That's been really good. What else did we do? Oh, the carb was terrible. It had a 33 millimeter carb on it, which for the 220s I think is stock, but the 200s come with a 35 millimeter carb. So I actually found an OEM key-in, put it on there, and then put like Pro Circuits jetting in it, and it's been freaking awesome ever since. I did Moto Tassinari V-Force reeds. We did full FMF. We got the like desert rev pipe on it, and then a turbine core for a spark arrestor. Done new bars. I just rebuilt the forks, so I finally put springs in there for my weight and then freshened them up. Same valving, but I think it'll still be better. It's got a lowering link just to make the rear end sit less like a stink bug. What else is on it? Oh, so far I've done steel braided brake lines. I haven't really gotten to ride with them yet, but I can tell just on the stand that it's already a lot better. Oh, and I put a new kickstand, or a new Kickstarter rather, and a new shift lever. Those were both OEM. The old one all the time would get stuck open and I would just hit it with my foot when I was riding. It was super annoying. And then we put this really sweet gripper seat cover on it from Guts, and I think it's just awesome. It's like, if you know anything about the old KDX seats, they are just basically like a dive board. You can slip right off them. But this thing's really good. I got quite a bit of money in parts that have been arriving over the last couple months, so let's crack the boxes open and get after it. Got all new plastics, new handguards to match. I got that sweet Meyer rear fender to delete the taillight, and these kind of like old school enduro looking front brake guard, and then something I'm really excited about. I spent a pretty penny on this thing, but I've basically had the front headlight taped together for a while, and I was actually able to find an OEM one. There it is in all its glory. Really, really stoked about this. I also bought just like an old KX 125 front number plate, so when I go to race this thing, or maybe even ride it in the mountains and we don't need a light, I'm gonna put that on so that I don't break this. Got these super rad, old school like 90s era graphics that we're gonna put on the whole thing. Really excited about it. I think the tank plastics are gonna look freaking awesome with this thing on it. And then lastly, the thing I'm most excited about, and I would say as far as reliability wise, what this bike needed the most was a set of fresh wheels. It's really hard to find hubs for this that aren't kind of destroyed already. And I had actually had 2 cracks on the rims on the original ones, and I was constantly worried about if they were going to blow apart on me. But a really cool company called Faster USA in California can repair your hubs. So this one had to be welded on a little bit, and then they actually vapor hone them and make them look brand new. I mean, that is the original hub, like 20 something years old, and it looks awesome. And then we got some heavy duty Excel rims, and then heavy duty spokes, and it's awesome, man. He puts new seals, new bearings in it. He trues the whole wheel and sends it back to you. So I'm super excited to get some tires on these things. I was just getting a bunch of my tire irons and stuff together to start throwing some tires on these wheels, and I realized I never took the freaking rim locks out of the other ones after I cut the spokes and got the hubs out. So you guys are about to watch me struggle through figuring out how to get these out without a hub in there. So let's give it a try.
What are you doing?
You know, just learning the hard way, like always. I think my best bet is to take the valve stem out, and then I'm going to try and just use tire irons right here to get the tire off the bead while it's flat. Getting it off the other side is going to be the horrible part. So. Come on, baby. Too big of a bite. Let's go. All right, I was able to get the bead off of both sides of the rim actually pretty easily. And now I think the hard part is going to be physically getting the rim out of here. So I've snuck the rim all the way into the tire as far as I could. And then hopefully that's going to give me enough space to pull the rim out. Maybe. Woo! All right. Never mind. All that fussing for nothing. Really wasn't that bad. And here's what we're after. For tires on this bike, I'm going to go with a Tusk Recon in the rear, and then the IRC VX40 for the front. I don't know, for the Pacific Northwest, like, it's a pretty good tire, and it's damn cheap. So can't really complain. Also, for tubes, I'm going to do a little trick that Jay Clark taught me on Instagram. If you don't know who that dude is, look him up. Look up Dirt Bike TV. He does like tons of stuff on bikes, all sorts of tutorials, and he's like a really, really good mechanic. But him and his son ride in the mountains a lot, and they do a thing called double tubing, where basically they take the stock tube, they cut the valve stem out, and kind of fillet the inside like a fish, and then they stick a heavy duty tube inside that. And knock on wood, since we've been doing that, we haven't had a flat. So I just have this crappy pair of scissors, cut a little triangle out of the corner. It's also pretty wild when you actually cut a stock tube. You're like, oh, I get why people get pinch flats all the time. And then there's a line on the inside of the tire. If you can kind of follow it, it makes it nicer for, or I'm sorry, inside the tube, line inside the tube. If you follow it, it makes it nicer for when you actually go to put in the other one. If the cut's straight, it helps, but it doesn't really matter. I found it's a little bit easier if you blast just a tiny bit of air in your new tube. Helps you kind of fit this guy in there a little bit. And then I like to line up the new valve stem with the cutout for the valve stem. Just kind of makes sense in my mind. So do your best to get it fit in there. Something like that. Sweet. Yep, lines up, looks good. Then another little Jay Clark tip. I coat the whole thing in baby powder. both sides, and then I'll also put some inside the tire. I like to leave the air in the tube. It just makes it a little bit easier to fit it in the tire. All right, there we go. Next, a little bit of tire mounting paste. Also, if you want to learn how to install tires, just go follow Dirt Bike TV. That dude, he's incredible at it, and his son records him, I think, while he's doing it, and he could do a tire change in like, I don't know, 3 minutes while talking the whole time. Probably takes me 10 minutes per tire, and I get bloody knuckles, and I probably will pop a tube every 1 out of 10. I got the backside of the tire already past the rim, and typically that's pretty easy. I was gonna say this rim is a little bit different than most of like the KTM ones. Typically with the KTM one, you'll have the rim lock and the valve stem right next to each other, and that makes it really easy because you could just start here, work your way around, and you don't have to worry about fighting anything. But with this one, the valve stem and the rim lock are actually opposite, like a Japanese bike. So that makes it kind of tricky. But either way, I always start at the rim lock so that basically you can ensure that the bead is on either side of it without fighting it too much. Then I'll just work around, and once I get it started pretty good, like that, take the little bead buddy. This is just handy because it helps you keep the tire down on the bead. All right, I can pull this one, keep working my way around. Now I gotta be a little bit cognizant of where the valve stem is because I don't really want to end up right on it. So I think I'll go most of the way this way, go past the valve stem, and then we'll finish seating the tire over here. As I go around too, I just make sure I'm not pinching the tube. It's okay if that second tube on the outside is actually stuck a little bit. It's not the end of the world. All right, we're about ready to take our last bite. Before I go to take the last bite, I like to make sure to push down the bead so it sits in the little valley of the tire. Typically makes it a little bit easier. Then I grab the big boy, start to take a big bite. All right, now should be one more and we'll be good. Come on, baby. Come on. Uh-oh. Wants to be difficult. Come on. Nice. Then I just run the nut down just enough to get an air hose on it, and then we're just going to beat it up. All right, just check both sides. Make sure it's beaded up evenly. It's good enough for me. Then I take the rim lock, and I like to do this while it has all the air in it, or like, you know, like 50 PSI or whatever. Take the rim lock, run it down, and then don't go crazy tight, just like right about there. Yeah, pretty good. And then I think we're gonna go 10 PSI for starters. Love it. Just gonna reuse the stock rotor. It's actually in really good shape. I'm just gonna put a little bit of blue Loctite, drip it in the holes, and then run the bolts back in. I'm still gonna reuse my chain and sprockets because they're pretty new. I'm rocking 1350 gearing, and so far I've liked it. If anything, I think I might even go lower. Another little part I forgot to mention. I broke the plastic rear brake guard off here not too long ago, and then I actually saw that Rocky Mountain has one. Ooh, it's pretty sick. Sweet. All right, that's the rear end of the bike taken care of. I'm gonna knock out the front real quick and then we'll hop on to plastics and graphics. Woo! Already looking like a bike again. All right, got a little sneak peek for you. Let's mix up some gas and start this thing. All right, that's enough screwing around. Let's ride the damn thing. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I got a lot more dirt bike content coming in the future, so please like, subscribe, and follow along. Also, doesn't matter what kind of boots you got or how nice your bike is, just get out there and share the stoke with anyone. Thanks for watching.